Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's the Produce Moms podcast, and you know it's not a new year around here until Pamela Riemenschneider, a.k.a. Pamela R., a.k.a. Produce with Pamela, joins us here at the Produce Moms podcast. We are going to do our annual New Year episode with Pamela, and it's so great to welcome her back for 2026, where we are going to talk about what's in Produce with Pamela's crystal ball as it relates to the trends and what we all can expect in the new year and throughout 2026. I think we'll probably talk produce department heavily, of course, like Pamela's 2 decades of being a storied journalist in the produce industry and trade media. She's certainly a thought leader as it relates to all things fruits and vegetables, and one of the OGs. Her and I have a lot in common as it relates to that. We're 2 of the OGs as it relates to let's go in selfie mode and talk about fruits and vegetables exclusively on our social media channels. Anyway, love Pamela. She's been a big part of my career. Great friend. We're both boy moms, and we both have this unique passion for all things fruits and vegetables. There is no New Year celebration at the Produce Moms podcast without her. So with that, Pamela, welcome back. We're glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share some of the trends. And one of the trends that we've been talking about for forever, we just have to reframe it for what's going on now. And it's saving money.
Oh,
right?
Girl. Yeah. For sure. Definitely, for sure. We're coming off the holiday season, and what I feel like has been like 2 years of inflated grocery prices at this point. Where is the reprieve? What are we going to do? But you're right, saving money, that mindset is not going anywhere.
And I feel like with the uncertainty with SNAP and everything, people on the internet went into panic mode of how are we going to feed ourselves? And I think really great discourse came out of it, where we're talking about things that you can do today, that you can do tomorrow, that you can put on your grocery list and save money immediately. Mm-hmm. And all of the folks that I grew up in the Ozarks in a not very well off family, so I would consider myself old poor. And the old poors came out and started sharing some of those hacks and tips and things people can put on their list and keep on their list, because it's not just an emergency situation. Right. We have been like money fatigue, grocery budget fatigue for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 2021 is really when a lot of it kicked in pretty hard as far as inflation goes.
I think it's safe to say that's leading the way as what's trending as it relates to not just the produce department, but the overall grocery experience in 2026. Saving money is top of mind for everyone. Pamela, what's some of your thoughts on how that comes to life as it relates to, produce, the way produce marketers can guide the conversation and meet shoppers where they're at?
I think we might see even more of back to the basics, right? Back to navel oranges, I think will have a day. Apples. I think apples deserve a day. Right.
Too.
Every time I go into the produce department, I look and see which apple. My grocer here in Texas is H-E-B, and every week they have a good apple on sale. And they know how to market apples really well. And I will go buy 2 or 3 pounds of apples, and I saw, or my husband saw it on either Instagram or TikTok or something like that, dicing up apples real tiny and basically throwing them in a pan with a tiny bit of brown sugar and some cinnamon, and having that on top of yogurt for breakfast for the whole week.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
And that's 3, 4, 5, 6 apples every week. If every consumer really thought about that, if you just set yourself up and meal plan your breakfast with apples. That's so easy. And my younger son, comes downstairs every time we're stewing the apples on Sunday afternoon, and he's can I just have some of it? Because it smells like apple pie. And it's super simple.
So how do you do it? Do you even peel the apples?
No.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I agree. And you don't really need to. All right, so walk people through how you do it in your home kitchen.
I do the easy way of cutting apples, and that is not using a core or anything fancy. I just cut around the core in like squares, and then if you want to cut it like you would cut an onion, do that. Just one way and then the other way. Or you could throw it in the food processor, honestly. Yeah. Or you could shred it or anything like that. Because the outcome isn't really picture Instagram worthy beautiful thing. It's yogurt with apples on top and maybe some granola, maybe some muesli. If you go to Aldi, they have some German muesli that goes really good on that.
Right.
And so easy.
So easy. I love it. I love it. That is definitely a basic how-to as it relates to breakfast in particular.
Yeah. Because I'm tired of trying to figure out breakfasts.
Me too. There's never enough food at any time when you got 2 teenage boys.
Another one I like to talk about when we're talking about saving money, I want to frame it as buy what you're going to use. I do this one where I'm walking around Costco and they have this chicken crumble thing and it's $15 or something like that for a pound of it. And I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? This is just really like Asian seasoned ground chicken. Why can't I just do this with turkey? And then you eat it on as an egg roll in a bowl situation. You eat it as a larb, I believe is the cultural, I think it's Filipino perhaps. And I use the coleslaw bag, but it's the coleslaw that doesn't have dressing. And it's the cheapest thing in the salad case at my store. It's $2 for a pretty decent sized bag of that. So you take this ground turkey, you throw in some soy sauce and some hoisin sauce, maybe ginger and garlic, and this bag of shredded cabbage and shredded carrots. And you cook that up and you either eat it over rice or you eat it in a piece of romaine, like a romaine cup. Could I do that with a head of cabbage for cheaper? Probably, but I would have to shred it. And I would probably have half of a head of cabbage left over. And will I remember to go back to the fridge and use the other half of that cabbage? It's probably going to get left in there for 3 weeks minimum. And then I would come back to it and I'm like, it's kind of brown now. I don't know. And so that's food waste. That's money I didn't need to spend. And if I'm going to spend $2 on this bag that I'm going to dump in the pan immediately and just go. And I've got a healthy meal that is a crowd pleaser, green onion razzle dazzle. If you want to use the social media trend for that and make it a little fancier. Chef Cassie on TikTok. These are simple things that is not hard. You can brown ground turkey. Mm-hmm. You can throw soy sauce and hoisin sauce or just some brown sugar or something like that in there to just give it a little bit of sweetness on there. Anybody can do that. I saw it on TikTok. I modified it for my own family. I've even seen people use breakfast sausage as an egg roll in a bowl. Just the base for it, and then they throw cabbage and carrots and whatever. And then I was at the store one day and I looked at this bag of coleslaw and I was like, you know what, that thing is $2. I can afford that.
Right.
And it saves time and it saves waste and it's super easy.
And Pamela, another thing that this conversation's bringing me back to, it's been a couple years, but I think that the trend is still there, that bowls are the new casseroles.
That is the next thing in my paragraph is bowls.
Shut up. Okay.
Bowls. And you know who is super keen on it? My 17-year-old. He wants burrito bowls, Asian kind of bowls. Totally. I even do like a Greek bowl where I will take kofta, the ground beef kebab kind of thing, and cut it up and throw it in there with some rice and some lemon and some bell peppers and cucumbers. Crowd pleaser. I love choose your own adventure foods, and bowls are that kind of choose your own adventure. You offer all the different things.
Right.
And then you can actually use some of that extra if you don't use it all up, which never happens in my house. All of the food is always gone. But if you want to plan ahead and have extra, then you can have it in a salad the next day. Bowls.
So true. So true. All right. So the bowls are still it. Saving money is still it. And we are getting back to the basics as it relates to, gosh, even some of these ingredients are like flagship items of the produce department, like cabbage, for instance.
Cabbage, carrots, apples, onions. All of this stuff is, everybody can buy that at whatever grocery store they're shopping at, whether they're shopping at H-E-B or whether they're at Dollar General. All of that is at either one of those from the whole range of grocers. So we can make a healthy meal that we can feel proud of out of basic ingredients.
Love it. Love it. All right. Shall we move on to the other trend prediction? Yes.
Speaking of, one of the things that I like to see, I always like to pick out like an ethnic food that I feel like is super trendy. And this is the most basic of them all. But if you want to save money and eat well and have a ton of flavor, Mexican food is it. And I saw a ton of recipes during our little panic of how am I going to feed everyone based on my grocery budget getting a lot smaller, and sopita. If you've got a tomato, an onion, and some pasta, and some chicken bouillon, chicken bouillon I think is going to have a moment along with a lot of other seasonings where people need to know that most of the time that Mexican food tastes amazing, especially Spanish rice or even beans, like refried beans. It all has a little whiffle of chicken bouillon in it, and that's what makes it delicious. Yeah. And I saw so many people sharing recipes. I saw one recipe that I had never had it in enfrijoladas. It's like an enchilada, but you dip it in refried beans first.
Ooh, interesting.
So you're adding protein, you're adding fiber.
Right.
And beans and
legumes,
rice.
Underconsumed vegetable subcategory, right? Like
beans and rice is a complete protein.
Totally.
So that is the foundation of cheap food.
Right.
And then when we talk about how it's prepared, how it's seasoned,
I couldn't.
It's America's favorite.
You know something I noticed too? So we're big taco eaters. We, with the teenage boys, we do the annual freezer beef fill up and everything. Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of like your very Americanized tacos, like the ground beef with the taco packet seasoning and filling them up with whatever taco shells strike the boys' fancy. Sometimes we'll go with the Cool Ranch flavored ones. Sometimes we'll go with blue corn. Sometimes we'll go with like just a traditional yellow corn taco shell. And I noticed when I was in the taco aisle, there's now Old El Paso has a taco birria kit. And I'm like, ooh, we are really elevating the Taco Tuesday at home and making some of these slow cooked, very authentic tacos, because those birria tacos are not your classic Americanized gringo tacos. These are like real, authentic, your actual Mexican American households are consuming birria tacos, and your actual Mexican, like in Mexico, households are consuming birria tacos. I think that speaks to this trend. If you have a big CPG brand like Old El Paso making an at-home taco birria kit available at Walmart, that definitely speaks to Hispanic and Mexican foods having a resurgence moment.
And I feel like another Americanized version of like easy tacos is the classic chicken and salsa in a crock pot, shredded up and put it in a taco, right?
Yeah.
And as beef is a little less affordable for a lot of folks, we can talk about the cheaper cuts of beef. And that's what birria is. Birria is goat in Mexico, but in America it's beef. But we can maybe look a little further down the beef case for something that is a little more long-term cooking friendly. And I think a lot of Mexican dishes. I made carne guisada in my crock pot yesterday. I live in Austin, Texas, so my grocery store has pre-marinated dump meats that you can just stew all day and make amazing tacos with. But let's get away from just the ground beef tacos.
Yeah, you're in the taco capital of America.
Yeah, San Antonio would be like, yeah, Austin doesn't have good tacos. But listen, my kids grew up with anything that was a taco was their top choice for eating, and we have maintained that. But just exploring further down the meat case, a lot of these ethnic foods, especially Mexican foods, are going to give you bang for your buck in flavor and price. And it's not difficult to make a lot of them. If you can brown ground beef, you can make tacos. If you can throw stuff in a crock pot and let it simmer all day, you can make carne guisada. And you can throw potatoes in it to make it stretch farther. You can throw extra carrots in it and make it stretch farther. It is one of the best foods out there to go ahead and explore and get beyond that and eat well, honestly.
Yeah, I love it. And again, we're touching on the affordability. We're saving money. We're eating more Hispanic and Mexican foods. What's the third thing, Pamela?
Beans, lentils, fiber, protein. Protein has been top of mind for the last 2 to 3 years. It started out with the keto diet folks who are going carnivore more. I think is the flashier version of that on social media. And as we've had some affordability issues in beef in particular, I've seen a resurgence of beans. I've seen lentils are having a moment.
Oh, totally.
Lentils, huge moment here. I even saw a salad kit that had toasted lentils as the croutons.
Interesting.
And I tried making them myself. You can make them in your air fryer. You just cook the lentils first and then toast them like you would toast a chickpea.
Chickpeas, yeah.
Yeah, chickpeas have been having a moment for a while too, but I feel like lentils are the darling of a lot of social media right now. Figuring out how to put them in ground beef. There's a really great content creator that does Mexican food. Her channel is Views from the Road. I got her birria recipe. It's great. But she does a lentil chorizo where she actually forms it into a log and will cut it up like it's chorizo. And I want to try it. I haven't tried it yet, but lentils everywhere.
As lentils rise, we could probably see another ethnic cuisine rise as well, with the Indian, South Asian foods, big demographic and cuisine for lentil consumption. And I know that was on your list as the runner-up to the Hispanic Mexican foods. So this is all very circular. We're saving money. We're eating more Hispanic Mexican food. We're eating more beans, which are, to your point, like affordability, but they also are hitting on some of these real key trends that are happening in food. The demand for protein's never been higher. And everyone I've talked to, Pamela, is talking about fiber now. And legumes deliver on both.
Of course. Yeah, that is one of the things that kind of keyed me into the whole beans, dense bean salad. That was definitely having a moment maybe last fall and into the spring. Everyone's making these salads with basically it's almost crudité or antipasto salads, but lots of beans involved. And now we've gone into the lentil part of it. And then how do we make lentils tastier? Because honestly, lentils by themselves, yeah, they're not the tastiest thing in the world. You got to make sure that you cook them all the way. But Indian, curry, Ethiopian, even if you've ever eaten Ethiopian, I head straight to the red lentils on the Ethiopian platter when you have it all out there on your platter with the bread and your injera bread. That is the first thing I go to. But I think maybe Indian food and South Asian food isn't as ubiquitous with American consumers as Mexican food is, but I feel like we're going to see a lot more as we go on, and there are some fantastic options for people for recipes. If you're looking for something that's going to taste great and do something really amazing with lentils, those are your go-to for that.
Yeah. And absolutely, as looking for ways to stretch the dollar in the grocery list, strong alternatives to meat. Very affordable. True. Didn't think about that. Share more. Yeah.
I have seen more tofu recipes in the last 6 to 12 months than I've seen at any other time. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about making tofu in ways that are unexpected, more like crumbling it up and crisping it in your air fryer and using it as a topping. And when we talk about like the foundation of getting alternative protein, it's tofu. Back in the day, we were all worried about soybeans and estrogen and studies that maybe weren't fully fleshed out and figured out. And we've moved past some of that and said, you know what, maybe it's not that. And if you look at the science behind it, I don't claim to be an expert in this, but I've also looked around and a lot more experts are saying, you know what, tofu is not going to hurt you at all. And it is a fantastic and inexpensive source of protein that you can do a ton of things with. And here are the things that you can do. I had never crumbled up extra firm tofu and thrown it in my air fryer and then tossed it with some soy sauce, and it's like salty and crunchy and really tasty. Yeah, social media. Yeah. You know.
Isn't it amazing?
There are benefits to being online all the time.
Oh my God,
you learn a whole lot of really good recipes, and you know what? It's a crowd pleaser for 3/4 of my family. Not everyone's a fan, but we all have to work around some of that sometimes. So many ways to do things.
Shall we move on to number 4?
Number 4, I think, might hit you too, is I like to pick out a functional food topic. When we talk about functional foods, we've talked about like mushroom teas and cognitive and all of this stuff. And I would never have bought this ever in my life until my older kid was really pushing sports and Uncrustables.
Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding me? Sports nutritionists and Uncrustables. Did you know the NFL eats 80,000 Uncrustables in a year?
I do know that fact. You want to know why I know that fact, Pamela? Because my children forced me to buy those. And we have an entire shelf in the freezer that is nothing but Uncrustables. So I thought I was done with Uncrustables when my kids were about, 5 years old. Now with 2 teenage boys that are active in their sports, one's football player, one's a basketball player, and they're always lifting weights and they're worried about refueling after every workout. And Uncrustables is where it's at I feel like, especially for these male athletes, these male teenage athletes. I don't know, are the female athletes eating the Uncrustables the way the guys are? Because it's insane.
Not as much. They eat them at halftime at the football games. And my older son, like, they go in at halftime and have them.
Yes.
And he goes to a really big school in Texas. As a person who has started this conversation with saving money, buying Uncrustables just is a knife in my heart. Because I'm like, we have sandwich at home.
Right.
But
and I'm spending, like, what is it? Like $10 to $12 for a box of Uncrustables. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Now they come out, they have a new one that's higher protein Uncrustables.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, we know.
I would not have thought that would be something that I would greenlight buying. But when my kid's packing his lunch in the morning and he wants to make sure that he has something because sports practices is in the morning, and before the next class, he's going to chomp an Uncrustable and be okay with it. It is crazy to me that this is the state of things, but there are worse things he could be eating. He could be protein powders and all this other stuff and doing too much of that stuff. The other part of the foods with function, I think, is something that we are going to see a whole lot more of. And this really helps produce in some ways, but we have to make sure we're mindful of it, is GLP-1 diets. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of folks on GLP-1 diets, and we have to make sure that or if you Google it, the first 10 results are somebody trying to sell you a diet plan to go along with your GLP-1. The AI search engine told me this is what I need to know. Lean protein, fiber-rich food, healthy fats, and getting enough water. And 3 out of 4 of those are what we've already been talking about, especially fiber-rich foods, because a lot of those folks are not getting enough fiber. It is keying in on one of the things that I saw. Fresh Time Farmers Market does a food trends. So most of the retailers in the country, Whole Foods is the first one out of the gate usually with the food trends of the year.
Yeah, they always make sure they're first with theirs. They publish theirs like before Halloween.
I know. And then everyone else follows. And it used to be a huge thing. I think it's like losing steam a little bit. But Fresh Time Farmers Market is one that I really like to follow because it is a Midwest-based retailer.
Right.
And I feel like Whole Foods is crazy stuff. Outlandish ideas, like really in the stratosphere that maybe are like 5 years away from mainstream America.
Sure.
Fresh Time Farmers Market is based in the Midwest, so I feel like it's more practical and it's more like today and tomorrow and something I'm going to start doing. And Fresh Time picked avocado. Of all of the things that you could pick as a trendy fruit or vegetable, avocado. And then I start to think about all the things that fits in Mexican food. It fits in fiber. People don't give avocado enough credit for the fiber that it's got in it. For GLP-1s, it's healthy fat and fiber.
Right.
And we're not just talking about guacamole, and we're not talking about avocado toast, because I feel like avocado toast is just really that flagship of goofy. Like the picture of millennial food trends. And you're like your scapegoat for ridiculousness. Right. When we don't give avocado a credit for being right there, and a lot of Mexican foods, like truly Mexican foods, they just slice it up and throw it on top of a torta, or they throw it on top of whatever you're eating as like a condiment almost, but not guacamole. Yeah. It just adds to your fiber and your healthy fat.
It's that razzle dazzle.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be doing like anything crazy with it.
Right.
And this is my opportunity for my plug for my information. I like to share tips and hacks on my TikTok channel. People think avocado is more high maintenance than it really is. And there's all the memes about avocados never ripe when you want it. I try to give people the easy advice of buy it on Friday, not ripe. Like buy it green and hard. And by Taco Tuesday, it will be ready if you just leave it out on the counter. Mm-hmm. That's about the time frame that it takes for it to get ready. And then whatever you have that isn't getting eaten right away, you put it in your fridge and you have another week. Mm-hmm. Avocado can absolutely go in the fridge, and people don't realize that. As long as it's ripe, toss it in the fridge, and you will always have a little avocado razzle-dazzle right there. Yeah. But it's just one of those things where I was like, I would not have picked avocado. I like to pick things like mushrooms and mango, which I think mango is having quite a moment. Mushrooms are having a great moment. The Mushroom Council is really doing a whole lot of outreach right now to get mushrooms in front of people. But avocado, of all things, I feel like avocado is just so mature as a fruit and vegetable in the U.S., but
Right.
it is back to basic.
And it hasn't been on a trend list in a while. At one point, it was the top trend.
I would not have picked that one out. That's why I love to look at every single one of these food trend stories. I have it as a Google alert in my inbox, and I read every one of them. And I love to read the ones where it says trends that are like losing steam, right? Cottage cheese, I think, is maybe losing a little steam.
Annoyed with it. Done with it. What's next?
Yeah. What else you got? I'm tired of cottage cheese on everything. I've even tried blending it up to use it in place of Greek yogurt. And you know what is great about Greek yogurt is that it's already there. It's already ready to eat. You don't have to do anything fancy to it.
Perhaps, do you think the avocado could take the place of that cottage cheese? Obviously, it's not gonna provide the protein, but I could totally see it being like what you put in the bowl instead of a scoop of cottage cheese.
Certainly more appetizing to me than putting a scoop of cottage cheese in a bowl for me. You can use avocado as a smoothie base too, and I think people don't know that one either. And I don't like bananas as my smoothie base. I love a banana, but I feel like bananas overpower smoothies. And avocado makes a smoothie extremely smooth. And it does bring a lot of nutrients to the party. It's an option that I think people don't think about because they're so caught up in my avocados never ripe on time and I don't know how to buy them.
Equating it to guacamole, not seeing it outside of that type of flavor profile. I think there's a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got some potential as a food trend that I had not really thought about until Fresh Time, of all retailers, picked it as one of their trendy fruits and
Do
vegetables.
you consider
for 2026.
avocados affordable?
I do consider avocados. For what
do
you're
too.
getting for the money, you are getting a lot. And I think people need to learn how to buy avocados. And if you buy them in a bag, unripe, they're typically not going to be squishy or messed up. Sometimes if you were buying them ripe at the store, everyone else has already squeezed the Charmin.
Pop the top.
Don't do that.
I know. I hate it. I hate it. It starts the oxidation. It's terrible. But you see it. You get to that ripe and ready section at the grocery store, and half the tops are popped.
And most of the time, the oxidation is just contained to where the oxygen actually touches the flesh. And if you get past 2 millimeters into there, it's totally fine on the inside. But if you look at it and see it, oh, it's brown in here. I'm not going to buy that one. I'm going to go to this other one. And I have another hack too that somebody told me once, and I've had a couple of people tell me it's not real, but every time I've done this, it's real. Tall avocados have smaller pits than round ones. And somebody was like, no, that's not true. And I was like, listen.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And the squatty round ones tend to have those really big pits.
Yeah.
Interesting. I agree. So GLP-1, I'm also seeing a lot of supplements come to market that are tailored for GLP-1 use. And I think that when we see things that are happening in CPG or supplements, like it usually is indicative of the trends that are going to affect the fresh food and the food service trends and the way food is marketed and brought and presented to you and sold to you as a shopper. So I think you're spot on.
My last one, I think, encompasses everything, and that is chronically online consumers, whether they be my age scrolling TikTok in the evenings or they be Gen Z. 84% of Gen Z says that they have tried a food they saw on social media. It is a huge inspiration for a lot of people. Food and Beverage did a really great article on this. There were 3 reasons. One of them is FOMO, fear of missing out. They see someone do this, and then they want to be part of that trend, where it's, oh, wow, everyone's eating X, Y, or Z. Dubai chocolate, or something like that. I want to try that. And then another one is the self-expression through food choices. I identify with this. I am a Mountain Dew Baja Blast person, or what does your coffee order say about you? And it gives you a topic to talk about on social media, because social media is social and everyone wants to go and have something to talk about. And are we going to be the person that talks about redoing their kitchen floor, or are they going to be the person that goes out and talks about what they're eating and why they like it? And then the third one was the community and connection with others. So are you a Baja Blast person and you like that color of aqua and you go to Taco Bell for it? I'm not, by the way. I just see it on the internet.
It's big. It's why a lot of these Gen Zers even go to Taco Bell, is because of Baja Blast.
Yeah. And then your coffee order. What does your coffee order say about you? That kind of stuff. And then there's also I I saw this and I'm curious about this. And that's where my kids come at me. My kids are like, Mom, I want to try grapes that have been rolled in lime juice and Jello powder and put in the freezer. They would not have ever wanted to do that. The most successful TikTok I have recently is my kids came to me and said, I want to try iceberg lettuce. And I'm like, what? I'm like, iceberg lettuce? I don't even know what you're talking about. I took them to the store because, hey, if my kid wants to try iceberg lettuce, we're going to the store. And we went and bought a couple of heads of iceberg lettuce. I videoed it because, of course, this is some kind of video that they've seen. And I put it on TikTok. And I don't even know how many thousands of comments that I have about this. But apparently there's a garbage truck driver who is famous for eating iceberg lettuce. And the kids love him. And wild stuff. Dinosaur Time is another one where it's, let's get back to the basics and just eat a head of romaine. That was something I saw on TikTok that I thought was really a great way for the produce industry to lead some of these things. And let's catch on to some of this stuff because we get left behind on a lot of food trends and we're not owning the message on a lot of food trends. And let's get it in front of this stewed apples thing. Stewed apples are super basic, super simple, super cheap. Mm-hmm. We need to get people to eat more apples. We got a lot of apples. We have amazing apples in this country. And people need to eat more of them. And that's a way to do it. Everyone should be talking about apples right now. Everyone should be talking about eating a head of romaine right now. How do we go ahead and push this forward? I love thinking about this and exploring this and how do we do this. Yeah.
Pamela, I love the 5. Let's revisit them. So let's start at the top. You want to give everyone the recap?
Sure. Saving money. I know I've talked about this at least the last 3 years in a row, but specifically hacks and very basic how-tos. Instead of substituting things, back to basics, back to the simple meals and simple things that we can do. A simple rotisserie chicken, bag of salad, and a bowl of sliced apples is a great meal. Mm-hmm. We do not need to make it more complicated than that. And then, by the way, you could use this rotisserie chicken to make your own bone broth. That kind of stuff, I think, is really going to be impactful for consumers. Hispanic foods, Mexican particularly. If you want to save money on food and eat well, an abuela has got you. We can eat sopitas, we can have tortas, we can have it so far beyond tacos, bolillo sandwiches, that kind of thing. I can go buy bolillo bread at my store for
same.
So
even,
cheap.
Yeah.
And you can make a great sandwich out of that with just some carne guisada and some beans and some cheese and some lettuce and tomato, and you're set and you're fed well. And I think people are going to be exploring different recipes beyond Americanized tacos. Yeah. If you want to save money. If you want to eat a more healthy, or I'm not going to frame it as healthy or not healthy, but beans, lentils, legumes, chickpeas are still in that. I think chickpeas are a foundation for a lot of really great ways to eat more beans because they're so good. They taste so good. If you haven't dried out roasted chickpeas as a crunchy snack, those are amazing. Yeah. Crispy lentils on top of stuff. Yeah. Explore that, and especially as it pertains to Indian food, especially. I think a curry flavored lentil recipe would catch a lot of people and they would really enjoy something like that. When we're switching over to functional foods, I think maybe my sports mom lens comes into this, but Uncrustables, peanut butter and jelly, basics are the way to
milk.
Go.
Yeah.
Yes, chocolate milk. Yeah. I've got that in my fridge right now. I've got Uncrustables, chocolate milk, and little pouches of applesauce.
Yeah.
Do the applesauce before practice and the Uncrustable and chocolate milk after. Yeah. I wish that my kids would just eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich from bread, but whatever. I'm going to fight battles, and that's not the one that I'm going to fight. If I can afford the Uncrustable, we'll eat the Uncrustable. GLP-1 diets are in a similar vein when we talk about lean protein and fiber and healthy fats. Avocados are my big produce item this year. They fit into every single one of those categories. I think it's a back to basics approach to a trendy food, and let's find some new trends for avocados. And then social media and influence are more important than ever and will continue to be important. I think video is the best way to reach consumers on the here's how I do it, Or we're going to also eat a head of iceberg lettuce, of all things. What can we eat with it? One thing I didn't mention that I think deserves due is the seasoning category, seasoning sauces, things like that. I think we're seeing a lot of growth and development in those. And that really fits into finding ways to make basic ingredients taste good.
Definitely.
Salsa matcha, chili crisp. Kinder's as a brand, I only knew of one or two things maybe 3 years ago. And now my Costco, I just saw a gift pack that has 15 of them or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
In there.
And I think they're really leaning into produce adjacent with their two-market strategy. I just bought one that was like a potato seasoning blend. I'm like, no one in the spice aisle has an entire blend dedicated to potatoes. They
Baked
do.
potatoes as a meal. There's another basic.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Yeah, write that one down. Baked potatoes as a meal. I did have this in my list that I skipped over. Potato salad, pasta salad, salads, but as a meal. And I think a lot more people are interested in potato salad and pasta salad because they're so inexpensive. And they're so filling. And you could do a lot of different things with a potato salad or a pasta salad. I'm not talking about a mayonnaise potato salad either. You can do German potato salad with more of a vinegar and onion touch to it. And those are things that are just back to those basics, but let's elevate the flavor, modernize, elevate, make it more modern and less grandma's potato salad that maybe people don't really like.
Confession, I love grandma's potato salad.
It hits sometimes.
Yes.
We make German potato salad in our family with this warm with like bacon and
So
vinegar.
good, yeah.
That's our way of doing it. But pasta salad, you can add so many different things to a pasta salad.
Totally, yeah.
So that is produce's best friend. That is saving money's best friend.
Great for meal prepping and staying on the budget. Making
Throw
sure
some
that
beans
you're-
in it.
Yeah, making sure that you're using, like you mentioned earlier, like what am I going to do with this half a head of cabbage if I buy a whole head of cabbage? There you go.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm looking forward to another good year, not just in the produce department, but in food and beverage trends overall. Great things ahead, of course, for Produce with Pamela, our dear friend. And this means, hey, cheers. It's officially 2026. You've been on the Produce Moms podcast now talking about your crystal ball and your forecast. So we're so thankful that you were able to join us, Pamela. I'll give you the mic for closing remarks and letting folks know how they can stay in touch.
All right. You can find me on social media at Produce with Pamela. I love to share ideas for saving money and eating better and eating more fruits and vegetables and exploring all the different things you can do with them. So I am so thankful to have been here. I don't even know how many years it's been.
Enough where we've lost track. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
It's always a pleasure. I love sharing, and it is a wonderful way to kick off a new year. Thanks so much, Lori.